It's time to wake up, world. The cosmic awakening is upon us. A major revolutionary transition is taking place right now. A great shift in which the Earth and its inhabitants are to be elevated to higher levels of consciousness, which is accelerating and gathering pace at an astounding rate. This is the foretold completion, the rapidly accelerating dissolution of the old paradigm, the matrix, which has bound Earth and humanity in the chains of an iron grip of lies, falsehood, corruptions, perversions, subversions, inversions, deceit, control, domination and overwhelming suppression for thousands of years. Expect mass awakening in accelerating times ahead, and it will occur with mind-blowing rapidity as the planet and our solar system experience a relentless outpouring of divine light from our true God, Source, Creator, Allah, or whatever name we choose, emanating from the galactic core and being transmitted to Earth via our Sun. We experience a fractal of universal expansion, a quantum shift from third density to fourth density, 3D to 4D, and from that very rapidly to 5D is taking place, and we are all changing and evolving from the old to the new. It is the way it is. It just is. A natural quantum evolution that is the way of things, only we never knew because it was kept from us by dark malevolence, under the veil, the Earth quarantine. But this is no longer relevant because it is to be swept away, never to return. We, in truth, are part of the eternal all that is. Access to the eternal is present within all of us. It is who and what we really are, and in that lies the reason why we are here and what we came for. The multiverse lies within, expressed in the eternal and ever-present moment of the now, part of the ocean of consciousness, where all exists simultaneously. That is the reality beyond the veil. From the stillness of all possibility, what we understand to be God, came the word, the vibration, and all existence sprang into being. All matter is energy, all energy is vibration. All is one and one is all. All energy is inherently neutral, it depends on how you use it to create a positive or negative spin. Positive energy flows freely. Negative energy is stagnant as a result of suppression and misuse, and therefore is not stable, as it must naturally return to the one for recycling. Thus it affects the one that created it, as they too must also return slowly to realignment with Source from the pits of low, dense vibrational frequency they dug for themselves. All energy needs to flow in and out of the Creator, the all that is, in perfect love and harmony, resulting in spiral vortices of ever-rising frequency. That is the act of creation. We are all endowed with the divine gift to create, but most of us do not know it yet, though we do it unconsciously all the time. This is because that is the way of things, and it is the essence of all that is. There is nothing else. Consciousness exists and expands fractally to the infinitely large and to the infinitely small. All existence is a holographic illusion of individual and collective conscious experience. There is no space, there is no time, there is only perception through conscious experience, an eternal acid trip of exploration, discovery, co-creation and excitement. The intent is to be filled with love, joy and wonder for experience and expansion, from a myriad of different perspectives, nothing else. And all experience is fed back to Source, the all that is, to experience, expand and to become more aware of the unlimited vastness of self. Toil, hardship and suffering were never intended as a permanent experience, nor a necessary one, but they may be used to serve a limited useful purpose for accelerated expansion in a free-flow state. We rarely, if ever, stop to consider that these obstacles are in fact unnecessary, but we are conditioned from birth to believe otherwise. And so the illusion has persisted until now. And for some on the cutting edge, the illusion has already begun to break down and dissolve. We are all eternal beings of higher consciousness, fractals of the infinite Creator, holding the innate divine vibration, created thus, but for millennia trapped behind the veil, experiencing that which we know as physicality. Why that is so is part of the consciousness and self-exploration in the evolution of God Himself. This is why the original creator, God, the source of all, is one, and why we are all intimately connected to all that is and are also part of the wholeness of one. But when we are born, we forget. It is a condition of being born on this planet, in the matrix, under the veil. We are much smaller fractals of larger fractals of even larger fractals of the conscious beingness that is the one, droplets of spray from a deep, deep ocean in constant motion. And so, we are all one. We chose to be here in this school of hard knocks in order to understand, grow and expand and nourish the whole isness with knowledge and experience. We are here of our own free will in service to the Creator, the all that is, created in perfect love to explore consciousness at the lower levels of existence we understand as physicality, and on that mission, to experience being separated from God, the fractal being separated from the greater self. And in that process we expand the light of divine consciousness into the darkness and create a far greater light. 1 + 1 = 3. It was an experiment of sorts, and from our perspective it got out of hand. It was harder than we thought in spirit to return to the one. But time as we understand it is unreal, it is an illusion and not what we think, as is the matrix. And yes, we all existed in spirit as our true selves before we were born, because we were created as fractals of the infinite all that is, and because time does not truly exist. We are in reality spiritual beings having a physical experience and not the reverse, experience being the programmable projection of consciousness. And as simultaneously running programs, inserts and deletions become possible through conscious interaction. Conscious programming inserts and deletions are not subject to the rules of the matrix itself, hence may appear to defy conventional explanation. Conventional scientific thought, or the art of explaining the illusion of the matrix in terms of the illusion itself, is an analog, an aid to the understanding of the infinite in terms of the finite. It has been misused and co-opted as a tool of suppression and control to steer the consciousness deeper into the illusion through limitations imposed on perceptions of what truly exists or what is possible. Of course, all is possible in the all that is. So why does that require a peer review to decide or censor? And if 1 × 2 = 2 = 1 + 1 and 1 × 3 = 3 = 1 + 1 + 1, etc. Why does 1 × 0 = 0 and not 1? 1 + 0 = 1? Unity is where 1 + 0 = 1 - 0 = 1 × 0 = 1 divided by 0 = 1 to the power of 0, all equal unity. No thing, non-existence, times something, existence, is always something. Unity, existence, just is. It cannot be trumped by non-existence. But then, we have been spellbound. This simple correction reveals the staggering symmetry, meaning and magic of numbers for those who care to look. It is not that the 1 × 0 = 0 may not be true of itself, it has some validity to a degree and you may take it to be true if you wish it to be, as part of all possibility, but the introduction of this concept was a deliberate distortion with a view to deceive and limit perception of the great reality. And in this context, it carries the frequency of distortion and hence of non-truth. You see, even mathematics as we know it carries the frequencies of distortion from truth and naturalness, thus underpinning the false paradigm of a world gone insane. E = mc², or so we have been forced to think, but c² is just a constant, so we are told. So energy equals a constant times mass, so why the difference? Because energy and mass are the same thing, they just manifest vibrations of a loving, living source field in which all manifestation occurs, at different frequencies. So mathematical proof in the distorted frequency is not necessarily proof of truth. It merely sets limits to understanding. But many, the majority, take these limits as absolute because mathematics based on 1 × 0 = 0 is truth. It never lies, right? However, they do not see the distortion. All evolution in this universe is based on Fibonacci sequence, the natural sequence of growth and expansion, the tree of life. See therefore how ridiculous it is to invest so much credence in the illusion. You are in this world but not of it. And so it starts. The new earth is here. It changes, not just a little bit, but absolutely everything. It is real. It cannot be stopped in any way. We all play our unique part, no one is insignificant or inconsequential, and this is the journey home to the unity consciousness that is the fabric of existence and complete oneness with all that is. As of 21st of December 2012, planet Earth crossed the galactic plane, marking the end of a long dark 26,000-year cycle. Earth has entered a much less dense region of space. Oh yes, space has density. It was the trigger, the milestone gateway to higher consciousness. It manifests through the evolutionary reconfiguration or activation of our DNA. On that date our collective consciousness rose to a level that changed the timeline of humanity irreversibly for the good, consigning the old negative ones to the cosmic dustbin. Our DNA is evolving. It is our antenna or receiver of the higher frequencies of spirit via the RNA. The RNA is the spiritual interface, it carries the encoded messages from spirit. DNA is the blueprint through which the reconstruction of a 4D and 5D humanity will take place. Spirit communicates with the RNA to reconstruct the DNA in line with the will of the Source, Creator, Aleph, the All that is via the central sun at the galactic core, the encoded base frequencies of our reality, administered by the angelic realms and the conscious universe of other higher dimensions. Accordingly, as the base frequencies rise, we are to move from the conventional idea of 2-strand DNA through 3, 4 and eventually a return to 12-strand. You see, DNA carries information, light is information on a quantum spiritual level, so DNA responds to light impulses. It responds intelligently to the stream of photons and subatomic particles, which are also intelligent consciousness in their own right. DNA is self-healing, the divine blueprint it represents cannot be destroyed on a permanent basis. The adjustments and corrections are taking place. Evolution has kicked into high gear, so hold tight for the ride ahead as the accelerated influx of light infuses into the solar system, into the planet and into our consciousness. We are thereby unlocking the sacred 7 seals. Some children born already have the multi-strands activated and in place, while in the rest of us the activation is taking place, in some quicker than others. Some of these are instrumental in leading the way and shattering the old matrix. They are the way-shouts, light workers, powerful beings of light here with a mission to bring it about, the snowplow clearing the way. Others will follow in their own time, but it will grow in surprisingly rapid succession. Except that is, for a few dark ones who through their own choice and obstinacy will not make the transition and will remain with that which they have created for themselves, and those that follow in their desire for control and darkness. And in that, the few will have their wish but not as they expect. These few are the Dark Cabal, the minions of control who, since the fall of Atlantis some 13,000 years ago, through Babylon established the system of kingships, judges, usurers, the introduction of money, manipulative religions and the Church of Rome. They have maintained, through dark ritual and technology, a suppressed world of dense, low-frequency vibration which blocked out the light for so long. They have no heart, they possess no empathy, they are dark dense beings. Their world is one of shadow and secrecy. They fear all, and all is a potential threat. The need to amass information and be in control at all times is paramount to them. They fear surprises. They have an overwhelming desire to analyze, categorize and make contingency plans of intricate detail. Ever wondered where the need for constant surveillance comes from? As if most could care less about what others are doing from moment to moment. These dense dark souls have knowingly and deliberately manipulated the level of human consciousness into lower density to create negative timelines that suit their agenda of domination and control, and to have us accept that there are those who have some innate or divine authority over you and have the right, by force if necessary, to tell you what to do, think, say and when and how, and to punish you if you do not. Does this sound like your self-serving, overbearing government? Actually, your co-opted and phony government, compromised by covert corporate registration in Washington, D.C., the steering corporate overlay the controllers think you will not notice moving step by step to a centrally controlled New World Order, NWO, an occult-driven tyrannical dictatorship of enforced corporate slavery and Hunger Games. Those at the very top of this secretive compartmentalized pyramid of control know very well that energy flows where your focus of attention goes. So their aim is to steer that focus through suppression of consciousness. The entire system we live in is geared to that objective. Therefore, do not be diverted negatively into an unconscious state, and be careful what you say with intention or what you wish for, as you will be giving out your energy to reinforce that negativity. These dark souls make us dependent on a simulated, artificial, upside-down world with artificial food, artificial, digital, technology, synthetic this and synthetic that. And how do you like your music? Naturally tuned to 432 Hz and the resonance of the universe, or tuned to a synthetic mind-numbing 440 Hz? The Church of Rome through the Jesuits are a continuation of the Roman Empire by other means. It represents the patriarchal priesthood of Babylon, who retain a proportion of the lost knowledge of Atlantis and who maintain their grip on power through blood sacrifice and the suffering of innocence, black magic. This institution represents the stagnant energies of old Earth with its emphasis on separation, competition, fear, survival and what's in it for me, where doing is considered more important than being, and the external is exalted and the internal suppressed. But the gateway to truth lies within. You are, after all, a human being. The external is merely our projection of the internal. The Matrix would have you see this basic truth in reverse. It plays with your emotions. So the kingdom of heaven lies within and emanates from the heart. Thus, to change the world externally, you must change yourself first within. You are not responsible for anyone else. You cannot comb your hair by combing the mirror. And the Dark Ones are still trying but failing spectacularly in a state of desperate dismay, as the influx of new energy and ever-expanding stream of higher frequency circulating and enveloping the planet, and emanating from within ever-increasing numbers of newly awakened human beings. So it continues, and that new base fabric underpins the new reality. It will not support the energies exacted, taxed, from us by the old matrix of falseness and illusion. Hitherto, it has been they, or rather their masters, that have controlled the matrix beneath the veil. Ever wondered why the whole world, abundant as it was created to be, is in deep debt, and to whom? Despite some appearances to the contrary in the cabal-controlled media etc., that and the plans to unfold it are collapsing to dust as the light begins to illuminate the deepest, darkest recesses these Dark Ones have hitherto inhabited. There will be no dark NWO, New World Order. This is the apocalypse, the uncovering, the great revealing. And in the light, the darkness cannot exist. Our history on Earth is long, far longer than we realize, and it connects us to the stars. We have been spoon-fed a diet of lies and manufactured half-truths about our past and about our origins. Any wonder we know so little about these matters, and why so many anomalies and, until now, long-time mysteries have existed? The mystery regarding our true origins is all a carefully controlled fabrication, a false construct, with no way of uncovering it except with assistance beyond the veil. The veil, an etheric energy grid, exists to approximately 8 to 9 miles above the Earth's surface. The Van Allen radiation belt may also play a part in a negative defensive shield or screen put there intentionally to deny access to higher consciousness and the sentient higher dimensional realms of the cosmos. As if the veil is now being dissolved by this same higher consciousness, and as the appointed time approaches very soon, it will come down completely. Sole access to this planet comes at a price, namely forced agreement to the rules of its rulers and masters of the hellish experience, those who programmed us with the belief in hell. Yes, it is only programmed belief and the fear that it generates that holds that frequency. That is what we have all done, except we come here voluntarily as physicalized fractals of divine consciousness to change it from the inside, bringing light to the darkness. Only the bravest and most adventurous souls have done this, so do not underestimate yourself or anyone for that matter. We all play our role. The Moon and Saturn have also been utilized in generating frequencies of distortion, amplified and distributed globally by Earth's magnetic grid, the so-called ley lines or dragon lines, to assist in maintaining the false matrix, or rather to ensure that we have remained unconscious within it, unable to wake up. Intersection nodes are key points where energy vortices exist. The frequencies affect the human heart, the mind and the etheric light body. The Moon is artificial and hollow. Ever thought it strange that it does not rotate, not even slightly? It is these points that have been hitherto deliberately hijacked to generate negative energy to keep the old matrix locked down. So you will often find churches, for Church of Rome, read Church of Saturn, Satan, at these sites. And if you have any doubt that they knew what was going on and what they were intentionally doing, then think again. Cell phone towers, TV, electromagnetic and nuclear radiation are all suppressors of consciousness and deny the majority of us access to the unseen that is all around us. The pineal gland, the third eye, is suppressed, also with the aid of fluoride. Ever wondered why such great lengths to add fluoride, a powerful neurotoxin and rat poisoning agent, to our drinking water? Allegedly because it may, in some cases, reduce the risk of dental cavities by up to 30%. Also, you can smile with confidence, most caring and considerate. And we are sold similar false belief concepts and constructs every day of our lives. Smoke and mirrors. Just take a step backwards and observe the cabal-controlled news coverage for the dark propaganda that it is, projecting dark thoughts of hopelessness and destruction into the collective consciousness in a vain attempt to continue creating our own bondage. Because consciousness creates that which it is focused on, that's the secret of how it works. Because consciousness is all there is. Therefore, take back control of what you focus on based on a way of living you truly want and not what others wish to foist on you. But there is much more. There always is. We live in a conscious, sentient universe within a conscious, sentient multiverse within a conscious, sentient omniverse. Life and consciousness abound everywhere. It is all there is, even within the apparently inanimate universes of light such as ours, or light that is different in some vibrational way, universes of sound, universes of all we can imagine. Every planet, every star and galaxy is a conscious, a unique entity operating and cooperating by design. Life is everywhere because all is consciousness, each a fractal of the one consciousness that is unity, the one, the origin, God, the all that is. All possibility exists, and as fractals of the Creator we are endowed with the essence of the Creator, in divine love, in full measure and unconditionally. Imagination is the key that unlocks higher consciousness. The all that is unimaginably vast. Even with all those other universes, God Himself has conscious knowledge of the merest tiny fraction of Himself and what He truly is. You are a multidimensional creation. A being of light, operating on many levels of existence simultaneously, part of a multifaceted oversoul, in turn part of a collective of oversouls, and so on back to source, all unique expressions of the divine all that is. It may help to think of this as a cone of infinity with the all that is at the open end and the 3D human being somewhere near the apex. There are an unlimited number of cross-sections in which aspects of the Creator can manifest as unique self-aware conscious being. This includes angels and other hyperdimensional beings of immense presence and awesomeness. That consciousness must continuously expand its boundaries, and that is the task of all creation in experiencing all there is within a given zone of consciousness or field of consciousness. We are each instrumental, a vital and inseparable part of the whole, providing our own unique perspective and experience. Nothing is wasted and nothing is lost. All eternity exists to complete the task, which never ends. In that eternity we will all return, through our own choice, to source and divide of many, many countless times. But know this, the darkness that has held the earth and humanity in check through domination and control will never again be allowed to do so. Game, experience over. That is to be gone forever. That is what we are on the very utmost brink of at this time, this window of a generation. Before the rise of Atlantis some 50 to 60,000 years ago, of which there were 3 ages of Atlantis, there was Lemuria, a higher consciousness, higher dimensional world on Earth as was Atlantis. Lemuria existed alongside Atlantis. Atlantis, under the influence of the Draco, delved deep into the black arts and misused their powers for destruction and domination. Much genetic engineering, manipulation, took place, giving rise to many of the creatures of myth and legend. Some, but not all, were the spawn of Atlantean arrogance. These lost civilizations were earlier experiments in consciousness, humanoid but not living in the level of physicality that surrounds us today. Forms and modalities of existence were somewhat or even quite a bit different from what is our experience today. Their densities were lighter due to the higher consciousness state and therefore would not be visible to us except in a consciously expanded state. And before Lemuria was Mu. But Mu was not of this earth and lay in the stars, probably somewhere in the constellation of Lyra, the true birthplace and origin of the human species some millions of years ago. However, Lemuria was lost as a result of the actions of Atlantis in the Third Age, when Atlantis fell through the floor of consciousness some 11.5 to 13,000 years ago, resulting in our current age of darkness, now in its desperate death throes. Look to Lyra for the original Garden of Eden. It was destroyed by war with the Draco reptilians or Alpha Draconians. The inhabitants of Lyra scattered to populate other local star systems with human and humanoid species. These systems include Orion, Sirius and the Pleiades. Much of Orion was under the control of the Dracos and their cohorts, the Negative Greys, for example the Rigel and Bellatrix star systems. The Orion Wars, the inspiration for the Star Wars films, raged for 600,000 years. Countless billions of souls were and many worlds were lost both in Lyra and in the Orion Wars. At the end of this, the light prevailed and the Orions are a force for the light, providing a source of great wisdom. But Earth subsequently fell to the Draconians. Beings referring to themselves as the Anunnaki emerged as rulers of Earth. The Sumerian civilization, Iraq, is mostly synonymous with the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki are able to shape-shift their form or at least create that illusion. They were for the most part reptilian, possibly Draco, but they created humanoid hybrid forms, for example Nimrod, Gilgamesh, the Nephilim. From these hybrids the elite ruling of class royalty evolved. Their perceived divine right to rule stems from this. The Greys' interest in Earth is our DNA. Many of the Greys have lost the ability to reproduce, having preferred a total reliance on technology. They are born through cloning and have no childhood. Our DNA has been sought and traded for a long, long time. The Cabal have traded human DNA for secret technology from the Greys. A deal made by the negative US military-industrial complex, the one Eisenhower and JFK tried to warn us of, was done in 1954 with negative grays and put a seal on the global disclosure of the extraterrestrial presence. This led to the particularly virulent Chimera group taking control, the Black Heart taking control at the center of the military-industrial complex. That is why the very thought of ETs or UFOs is ridiculed in the establishment. It is the #1 must-keep secret from the public. The Chimera group are extremely dangerous renegades with strange quark and top quark bomb, plasma and ether technology, but they will also be taken care of. The Cabal themselves are hybrids, as we all are, but unlike us the Cabal are negative Draco-reptilian hybrids descended through 13 hybrid bloodline families such as the Rothschilds, Rockefellers and others including monarchy and royalty. Into these families the fourth-dimensional Draco repeatedly reincarnate. They answer to the black nobility, the controllers in shadows since millennia on Earth and the real power conduit behind the Jesuits and the Roman Catholic Church. These are historically referred to as archons by the Gnostics, who were brutally suppressed for the knowledge they possessed. The archons, and the construct hierarchy of archangels, archangels or Decepticons, are non-physical entities, a form of inorganic artificial intelligence, have hitherto controlled who gets in and out of the veil and under what conditions, up to a point that is. Negativity, hate and violence fuel the archons and current matrix of illusion. They are as a fractal virus which has acted to co-opt the natural dark component of this universe, which is not itself evil as we know it. The archons serve the demiurge, the blind and insane inorganic controller at the helm of the synthetic invasion of the organic universe. The Yahweh, Jehovah complex operating the Jehovah AI Matrix program. The God of the biblical Old Testament. You know, the vengeful, jealous, patriarchal paranoid schizophrenic one that punished and spread the fear of fire and brimstone in the collective consciousness. The usurper, the lie superimposed on the truth, now repackaged into a softer, more cuddly identity for today's discerning market of semi-conscious souls. Although the archangels are in essence a form of AI automatons under the control of the demiurge, some of these entities may have succeeded, at least in part, in evolving some awakened sparks of conscious autonomy as the divine plan unfolds. Be aware and be discerning of these entities. They represent hierarchy, which is not truth. They are used to control and deceive by mimicking other natural higher beings, the true consciousness and reality transformers. Transformers and Decepticons. Just where did that concept come from? The demiurge and the archons are so far removed from source that they are capable of creating nothing themselves but instead distort that which organic life creates in order to synthesize and replicate it. The aim being to lower consciousness, stamp out individuality and make all natural organic life slave robotic automatons to feed them the life force energy they lack themselves, to make this a dead universe cut off from source and thus bonded to the will of the insane one, that is create hell itself. These entities are created as a result of unloving, non-source aligned thought, word and deed. They represent the local acid fractal virus on the tree of creation. It destroys universes. In this universe, the Earth is the all-important key. The Draco are deeply archon-infected and act accordingly. All can be overcome by reversing this unloving non-aligned behavior within the self of each individual and thus collectively. Love, empathy and compassion for all of creation, with no exception, are the keys to zap the virus. We must all learn and do this. We and Gaia are the focal point where this struggle will be resolved. And what is meant by organic? It is the purest heart-centered love from source. The event, the divine flash of conscious love and awakening from source, the consciousness shifter will assist us to make the right choices at the right time. It will be done. And it will be done. And it will be done. The Anunnaki, those who form heaven to earth, came, reptilian or serpent beings who came to planet Earth with the original objective of mining gold in order to fix their dying atmosphere on their home planet Nibiru. These were the ancient lesser gods of mythology. But they, the false Elohim, led by brothers Enki and Enlil on behalf of Anu, their father and king of the Anunnaki, saw native humans as slaves to work in the gold mines mainly in South Africa, where exists today Adam's calendar. These ancestral humans were genetically modified. The DNA was split apart to create the double helix and revert the rest to so-called junk DNA, which of course it is not. All souls are forced by whatever means necessary to agree to small print contracts that bind them in difficult or intolerable karma-creating circumstances while incarnate on Earth. So we have to come back time and again to eliminate the karma. Most of us have been here many, many times. We have to forget our true origins and our true eternal spiritual nature to enter this world. But it also serves to protect us when we have a mission to fulfill. We rely on our spirit guides to prompt us to remember why we are here, and sometimes it can be a rude and uncomfortable awakening, but not for long if we get the message. Many souls incarnate here on Earth are starseeds. These are the vanguard of the Lightworker force here to set this planet free. Many benevolent star races are represented of varying frequency and dimensionality from 4D to 9D. The main proponents are the Pleiadians, Sirians, Andromedans and Arcturians, but there are also many others such as Procyans and Tausicians. The Arcturians are the most advanced race in our sector of the galaxy. And now the heavyweight extra-dimensionals are arriving to see this through to completion. The sphere being alliance, 6th to 9th dimensional beings, one of which is known as the Blue Avians. Others in this category include the Central Race or the Wingmakers, future manifestations of ourselves. Why is this? Because time does not truly exist, only the ever-present now, the manifestation of which is consciousness-driven. So you see, we are not alone. Silly thought, we never have been. Extraterrestrials are not quite what we're led to believe, since they have a spiritual connection. We have space family and assistance on an unprecedented scale. In a suppressed ambient state of vibration as we have been forced or tricked into holding, we cannot ordinarily see these higher dimensional entities. Remember, there is no such thing as time as we understand it. They can move through space and time like a fish through the ocean, only quicker, much quicker, you might say instantaneously or thereabouts, or even quicker still. Energy flows where your focus of attention goes. You may also think of some of these beings as us from the future. It has been revealed to us that in our levels of physicality, space and time are intrinsic properties of matter, energy, vibration. If you energetically, vibrationally manipulate the space-time coordinates of an object, you can cause it to teleport. Understand, an object is not the same object energetically and vibrationally speaking when it is moved, because it does not have the same space-time coordinates, as if like it could change its intrinsic color from blue to green, just by moving it. It was the Hiroshima and Nagasaki nuclear bombs in 1945 in particular, in addition to the Philadelphia experiment in World War II, that drew so much close attention from our space family, necessitating a plan of action. Actually, it was just the next phase of the divine unfolding of cosmic awakening and expansion. The expansion also includes our space family and allies and the entire universe. The sun itself is not the same sun as it once was. The Earth, as are all stars and planets, are living higher conscious entities, cross-sections of the cone of infinities. Earth represents the embodiment of the nurturing feminine energy, Mother Earth, Mother Nature. Earth's true identity as that feminine entity is Gaia or Gaia Sophia, that beautiful spirit much beloved of the Creator, because she nurtures such unique diversity of life. She volunteered for the role. She is unique in the universe as she acts as a focal galactic waypoint, a place of great learning, created to be a living library of galactic and universal benefit and a blueprint model for universal evolution and expansion. But since her intended evolution was hijacked by dark forces tens or hundreds of thousands of years ago, and perhaps much longer before that, it did not happen. And so she and we suffered. She is ascending to higher planes and we are going with her. It is part of the divine plan. So our living, loving universe in angelic form of all sorts, physical and non-physical, is gathered around our planet to assist her accelerating rise through the dimensions. No harm will come to her as she regains her strength and reattains her true being. Beware those who would try, the tide has turned forever. Be not surprised that the Earth is actually hollow in the various dimensions, where exist Telos and Shambhala, remnants of Lemuria, in the land of Agartha, projections of higher and also lower consciousness, where Draco and other cohort entities including Jinn, possibly the spirits of departed reptilians and Greys, have long time existed and utilized in the dominion of this planet. The Agarthans are our ancestral cousins on Gaia and exist to help with the consciousness shift. We also share this planet with our cousins the Yeti, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, beings of higher frequency and consciousness who choose whether or not we see them. They too play their part. Expect more contact with the Yeti, Sasquatch in the near times ahead and introduction to the Agarthans. The UFO sightings increased dramatically since the end of World War II, for example Roswell 1947. Understand that nuclear detonations affect many dimensions of existence and many worlds can and have been destroyed by these actions. It has not been a good move. So the nuclear threat has been disabled. There will be no nuclear war on this planet. Large nuclear weapons fired in anger will fail to detonate. Whistleblowers from the military have confirmed that nuclear warheads in silos in North America have malfunctioned for no apparent reason. The military know what is going on. So now there are countless starships and lightships numbering between 1 and 2 billion, amassed in vast fleets around our solar system, kicking the butt of the negative Greys and Draco, or just here to witness and observe and be part of the Grand Awakening party, which could last thousands of years. Most of these light fleets we cannot see as they vibrate at a much higher frequency. Some are from other galaxies and some from other universes. They represent myriads of federations and confederations. Were they watching Star Trek? Some motherships such as the Sirian and Andromedan craft are the size of small planets. Craft the size of Neptune and Jupiter belong to the Sphere Alliance, which represent 5 separate powerful benevolent races, have been confirmed present in the Oort cloud on the outer edges of the solar system. They have scientists baffled. The craft themselves are conscious entities in their own right, but so is everything. Remember, it is all there is. They easily interface with that level of consciousness. And our earthly view of ET and aliens is close in many ways but way off the mark in terms of what they are and how they interact. We think of them as purely technologically advanced 3D, but they are not that. They are highly evolved consciousnesses of higher dimensional and so on up to angelics. To see and interact with them we have to increase our frequency. But down here on Earth, we have to complete the task ourselves to make the transition by consciously stepping out of the matrix. Unlimited assistance exists in all dimensions of creation to back us and remind us of our collective and individual tasks. Our free will not be interfered with by the positive groups. The assistance available is only limited by our beliefs. The Cabal wanted World War III as a means to avert the mass conscious awakening, but they are not going to get it, no matter how it appears on the surface or in the news. Sorry guys, time is up, your luck just ran out. So try your luck in Afghanistan, Libya, Syria or in Ukraine, maybe or back to Iraq again? How about Iran? Pakistan? North Korea? Oh dear, nobody playing ball? You see how it works. Swing this way, swing that, play this card, play that card. Got to get some more turmoil going. Feed the negative entities the negative low vibrations they need to exist in this reality, or anywhere, in order to maintain control. Looks like the old plan and the ideas are wearing a bit thin. Conscious awakening is happening despite all of these desperate, vain and increasingly ridiculous and transparent efforts. There is nothing you can do, guys, absolutely nothing. Except perhaps tear your hair out or grind your teeth. You sold out cheaply for a lie. Contact on a mass scale is a necessary part of the human awakening experience, but it can only be made through a rise in collective consciousness which gathering momentum and shortly to reach a quantum threshold. It will happen soon. And the spiritual backup goes even beyond that, back to source itself. Angels of all dimensions, they are out there assisting to bring forward the divine will of the Creator. And as for the Greys, our DNA has been used to bring about hybrid human, grey reptilian races of a benevolent kind such as the Yahyel. Remember the Phoenix Lights of 1997, and the Ployel. It may be the Yahyel who have been assigned to make first contact. They were just testing the response in 1997. There is a lot going on if you have the eyes to see and the inclination to find out and investigate. So you see, in the new earth, 1 + 1 = 3, and there is no such thing as nothing, because all just is. Many in increasing numbers are doing this, and what is more, they are cross-communicating with our space and spiritual families as well as with each other. And so, the jigsaw pattern unfolds and converges, becoming increasingly coherent. Ever noticed how people are generally more open and receptive nowadays? So they are not crazy eccentrics after all. And finally, well, maybe not, but for now, there is no such thing as coincidence. There is only synchronicity. All is by design and not by random accident. Welcome to the paradigm shift of the awakening and to the process of creation in quantum evolution. Welcome to the birth of the new earth. Wake Up World, Part 2, Further Thoughts and Reflections. Remember, you are a being of light, and that you have natural inbuilt light of source, the all that is, the result of which is that you have consciousness-driven internal technology, I-Tech, which is easily capable of overriding synthetic digital technology. Why? Because you have the potential to change and create your own experience of reality at will. Only you do not yet know how, and because synthetic digital technology is only holographic simulation. You will learn, or rather, you will simply remember what you always knew as the expression of your true self, that which lies sleeping within. They increased your susceptibility to reptile impulses, those which we have all taken to be human nature, but this is not true. You are not the 3D physical animal they would have you believe. You are multidimensional, created first of spirit in unconditional love and joy, as all things are. The reality behind the dark illusion and fearsome bravado, even though they can be very scary, is that these beings are scared witless because they know their number has finally been called to account, thus ending their unopposed rule. From a higher consciousness perspective, they still deserve love and compassion, same as every other being in creation, because only that will beget more light. Nothing now can stop the truth from surfacing. Never discount anything, especially at this stage. So get anger out of your system, because, from that same higher consciousness perspective, they have fulfilled a role in creation, namely, to create contrast for the now-to-end experiment of duality, love/fear, created for accelerated spiritual growth and expansion. That is why this world always seems broken, destined to fail, why nothing ever works, an endless basket case of bad news, despair and hopelessness. It is engineered to be so by those lacking in love and empathy. It was created, or more precisely twisted, into their image. That is why every peace effort is derailed and sabotaged through false manipulations and engineered tragedy. It has been a game, a very dark one. It has been a bad dream from which at last we are waking up. you will see linear time, the illusion it is. The illusion is created from a 3D old Earth perspective as your conscious state of being moves you through multi-dimensional frames of reference based on your decisions. This is how you control the reality you experience from moment to moment. The world may still look the same and appears nothing has changed, but your state of consciousness has shifted you into a parallel reality. This reality, although similar, or sometimes not, is different. Even the person next to you with whom you share many common experiences will be in a different frame. The unconscious individual is not aware of this change. So even if the world looks bad and bad things are happening to others, it does not mean that will also be your experience. It depends on your frequency and state of consciousness. In the old Earth, this was called faith. You had to place your faith in something intangible and a miracle might happen. In the new Earth, miracles occur as a matter of course because your consciousness has risen to allow the creator flow of divine source energy, the creative power of God, to flow through you and emanate from within yourself. You were created, split off from source, in order to do this, to learn true heartfelt unconditional love without judgment, to evolve and to grow. So you see, God is not a jealous, judgmental being, but only pure joy and love given freely and unconditionally. This is altogether the power of consciousness when the energy of the divine all that is allowed to flow freely through your being. You have all possibility at your fingertips. But first you must learn how to use it. Actually you already know, you have just forgotten. What did you do with your eternal being in the infinity before you incarnated here? Actually, you have been through many ascensions. It is how you got here. It qualified you to come here and experience the school of hard knocks in the densest layers of physicality. But this current ascension is unique. It has never happened in this way and on this scale before. For this you are held in the deepest love and highest regard by the rest of creation. There is much spiritual and extraterrestrial attention focused on God to witness the event of ascension, since the level of achievement and what is about to unfold has never ever occurred before. Everyone alive on the planet today is a magnificent, powerful and bright blazing soul, a light warrior, that has experienced much darkness and pain for the expansion and greater good of all. So do not underestimate anyone. Each has played their role brilliantly, even those that got under your skin, so to speak, or gave you a hard time. Why? Because they provided you the opportunity to learn and grow. All has its place in the divine plan of creation. There may be individual ups and downs, but all expands ever upwards. The infinite expands, that is God, the organic source of all, expands infinitely. We expand likewise in parallel but also as part of the whole, because we are all connected as one fractalized self, one vast ocean of loving consciousness. To express this linearly, we expand to become as God himself is as we perceive of him now, and God expands to become even greater than he was before. The spiral, the cone or triangle of infinity has no end. And within this cone are many fractals of itself, each one infinite of itself. Your brothers and sisters in creation are you. We are all you in your unique hologram of experience. Now, has the penny dropped? This therefore is the blueprint to be carried forward to other regions of the universe and beyond. The physical was an unknown darkness on the fringes of conscious experience. You have opened it up and allowed the lights to penetrate. You have paved the way. This is the gateway for higher dimensionality, spirit, to experience the physical planes, cleared of darkness to experience and create in harmony and joy all that is represented by the physical, without the risk of becoming stuck by the glue of attracting karma. So out of the darkness there came light. You were brave enough or confidently foolish enough to volunteer for this never before achieved exploration of the lower frequencies of the all that is, sort of like the movie Inner Space, only in a grander context. You volunteered to experience separation from God, live in darkness, oppression, suppression, negative interference, and all in a state of total forgetfulness, the main condition of entry, actually for your protection. And after many challenging lifetimes and both male and female, you came through ready to return to the light and to source from whence you are truly inseparable. This experiment that turned into the nightmare we all share, as the sticky glue of karma held you down, trapping you in the lower vibratory frequencies, is energetically over since the 21st of December 2012, case closed. Only the dying remnants are playing out like a beheaded chicken that still twitches as though still alive. Not a pretty analogy, but then the nightmare never was pretty. Congratulations on graduating and coming home. The prodigal sons and daughters return. Sons and daughters, though you are actually androgynous in your higher conscious state, but you can be whatever you choose also. Presented in heartfelt co-creative love and deepest respect for the all that is.